Clip of the Australian Prime Minister who was just defeated. His plan for carbon tax was shot down in the Australian Parliament, so he said what Obama said. He said, I'll just do it anyways. Schwarzenegger a month ago couldn't get the legislature before it closed to put taxes on television sets, taxes on emissions, taxes on cars. He just said, I'm just going to order the bureaucracy to do it. They have to be impeached. They have to be removed. These are dictators, tyrannists. These people are frauds. It's an international grid, a system of governance, a system of oppression. Here's the second clip of Prime Minister Kevin Rudd.
Industry and employment impacts of climate change. Where is there equivalent evidence basis to Treasury modelling published by the government on the cost impacts of households from the carbon pollution reduction scheme and on the adequacy of the compensation arrangements put in place by the Commonwealth Government in the government's white paper? The answer to both these questions is there is no evidence. None has been provided, none from any official source.
Total lie.
Where is the evidence basis offered by the new League of World Government Conspiracy Theorists that climate change can be effectively dealt with by market means or by uncoordinated national means? Again, no body of evidence, no official evidentiary document has been produced anywhere to substantiate that position.
Total lies.
The truth is that the do-nothing climate change skeptics offer no alternative official body of evidence from any credible government anywhere in the world. Absolutely none. The truth is they offer zero credible evidence. Instead, they offer maximum fear. The universal conservative stock in trade. And by doing so, these do-nothing climate change skeptics are prepared to destroy our children's future. The third group of climate change deniers are those who pretend to accept the science but then urge delay because they don't want their country to be the first to act. In Australia, there was once a political consensus resisting this parochial view. The Shergold report, commissioned by John Howard and written by the head of Mr Howard's department, Shergold himself, recommended that Australia should not wait for the rest of the world to act. This is what Mr Howard's report said on this prior to the last election, and I quote it: "Waiting until a truly global response emerges before imposing an emissions cap will place costs on Australia by increasing business uncertainty and delaying or losing investment," unquote. Thus spake the Howard government. The current Leader of the Opposition also stated that a domestic emissions trading scheme would help in international negotiations too, and I quote, "Our first-hand experience in implementing an emissions trading scheme would be of considerable assistance in our international discussions and negotiation aimed at achieving an effective global agreement," unquote.
That's enough.
In July last year.
Now, did you notice he's saying you're a conspiracy theorist if you say this is a global government, when the UN, Al Gore, the head of the EU all say it's a global government, and it's in the treaty. He then says there's no scientific evidence that carbon dioxide isn't hurting us, when there's 31,000 plus scientists in the U.S. alone saying it's all a fraud, and the UN's got 600 real climatologists that it turns out are on their payroll to engage in fraud. He then says those of us against this global government takeover and carbon tax are fearmongers. He goes on to say, and we don't care about our children's future being destroyed. Fear-mongering. They're the ones saying polar bears can't swim or dying when their numbers are exploding, and penguins.
Professor Carter contributes regularly to public education and debate on scientific issues. His public commentaries draw on his knowledge of the scientific literature and a personal publication record of more than 100 scientific papers. Professor Carter strives to provide critical and dispassionate analysis based upon scientific principles, demonstrated facts, and knowledge of the scientific literature. Bob is also an enthusiastic and valued and a foundation member of the Australian Environment Foundation and a very good friend. I would like to welcome Bob here today to speak on global warming, in particular an analysis of the facts of climate change in a balanced context. Thank you so much, Bob.